Well, I can't wait to look at your receivers here because the first guy on your list is a guy you've successfully convinced me on in the past. Not I don't think you've ever gone beyond sleeper rank for him, but you've definitely thrown his name out before, whether it was in a full on, hey, look for this guy, he could be a sleeper this year, or during one of our weekly shows where you were like, hey, guys on waivers you should check out. Marvin Mims has been a guy you've had your eye on for a while. And as a result, I've kind of had my eye on for a while. What's different now?
Yeah, great question. Always loved the talent, as you alluded to, and nothing's really convinced me to not like the talent. You look at last year on just 27% snap share, so barely plays, and that's always been the issue. Can you get on the field? Finally, at the end of the season, they say, okay, let's see what we have in the kid. He goes 8 targets, 8 catches, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The next game, 5 targets, 5 catches, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And you're like, oh, okay, so that's what we've been wondering. Like, you see it, and you're just wondering, why is this guy not on the field? 28 catches, 434 yards, and 6 TDs over those final 7 games. And every single time he's out there, it's elite. 2.86 yards per route run, 4th in the league, 0.74 fantasy points per route, and 2.49 fantasy points per target, both second. So crazy efficiency every time he touches the rock. Bo Nix's quarterback rating was 127.3 when targeting him. And all of that just keep me clinging to him. These little glimpses of how talented I really think he is. And every time he gets the chance, he seems to be making plays. And as you asked, okay, well, what's changed though? He's always made plays. His rookie year, he had like 9 of the 10 longest plays of the Broncos season. And he still wasn't getting his role elevated. So what's different this year? It's either coach speak or preseason usage, but both of those things do allude to a bigger role for him. So coach is saying, Sean Payton, when something like this happens, you see him blow up, you're constantly thinking, are we collectively doing things to suit each player? And suggesting that he's going to have more added to his playmaking menu. And then you see in the preseason game, it wasn't insane stats or anything. He had like 1 catch for 3 yards, but he was out there for 16 to 19 snaps with Bo Nix. He ran 9 of 11 routes. There was only 3 instances last year outside of Cortland Sutton where a Broncos receiver exceeded 80% route share. I know it's only 19 preseason snaps, but he was truly out there for every single one of them other than 3. And that to me suggests like maybe he is the clear wide receiver 2. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overlooking in these 19 snaps, but to me, all he's ever needed is more time on the field, and he's always going to blow up. And every time he's been on the field, he does blow up. And so to me, and Mims himself saying, I worked really hard to expand my route tree, to do different things that the coaches asked me to. I'm looking at these different things, the big picture. I understand it better. I'm playing faster because of it. And so this late, maybe the light switch kind of went on at the end of last year. The coaches recognize it. They elevate his role. And suddenly he's the number 2 wide receiver with Bo Nix, who I do think could be like the next Drew Brees over there with Denver. I really love Bo Nix. I think he is phenomenal. To me, it's just an offense I want to bet on. This guy goes pretty much undrafted and redraft. He goes right around 140 or so in best ball. That's a guy that's a talent that I've always loved, that you alluded to. And I do think this could be the year he finally gets on the field. Maybe it's fool's gold again. Maybe he only plays 30% of the snaps and is rotating in. But the early signs so far in camp and in preseason suggest that, he is actually going to be the number 2 for this offense that I love.
And the talent's absolutely there. I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Denver, by the way. As a former diehard Denver fan that just has not really been able to bring myself to be too invested in them for, 20 years now, probably something like that. I'm interested to see how that'll play out. Real quick, just pivoting from the sleeper thing, because we're talking about Bo Nix and the Broncos. Just who do you like more, Bo Nix or Drake May? Or can you not possibly answer that question objectively?
I do think in fantasy I like Bo Nix better. I know as a Patriots fan, though, like a real-life quarterback, I like Drake May like for my future of the franchise, and I really like Bo Nix. I think he's going to be safe and steady. But like I think if one of those two is like, oh my God, you've hit Josh Allen status, I think Drake May has a better shot to actually like truly ascend into that tier of just insane talents. Maybe that is the Patriots fan in me. But if I'm drafting today for fantasy, I do have Bo Nix. I think I have him quarterback 7, Drake May quarterback 8. Like they're back to back.
So it's a legitimate question.
Absolutely, yeah. And most people wouldn't have that. Most people have Bo Nix like right around where I have him, and then have Drake May quarterback 13, 14. So maybe that is the Patriots homerism, but I think he is going to go nuts.
All right. I'm actually kind of looking forward to watching them for the first time in a while. Next guy on the list. So I remember I shelled out a little bit in waivers for this guy one week because it just everything looked like the stars were aligning, and then they just kind of didn't. So, why do you like him this year, or why do you like him as a potential lottery ticket?
Demario Douglas, a nice segue from Drake May. I could see Demario Douglas. I know when you have Stephon Diggs added, you draft Kyle Williams up high. It might seem like blasphemy, but I could see Demario Douglas actually leading this team in targets as the slot receiver for Josh McDaniels. So far, the camp hype has been very real. The most impressive inactive wide receiver in camp, according to many writers like Taylor Kyles, who says Demario Douglas has been the Patriots' best pass catcher, and it isn't close. He looks more comfortable than ever under Josh McDaniels, consistently getting open, catching everything thrown his way, and quickly becoming Drake May's top target. And you just think Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, like it's a very easy thing to see that Josh McDaniels' slot weapons often thrive. And I went to camp, and it was insane that like they're moving him in motion. He's catching it 10 yards down the field, and there's nobody else near him because they do so well of clearing that space out and the other receivers' routes that whoever is that slot guy is going nuts. You have Drake May saying you can't guard this guy in a phone booth. You have Mike Vrabel saying, I love the guy. I love his attitude. I love his spirit. He loves to practice. He loves the game. He loves football. He keeps getting better. He's picked up everything we ask him to do. And to be one of Vrabel's guys is important. This is the new coach, and this guy has endeared himself to both McDaniels and Mike Vrabel here. So I think at minimum, you're looking at 100-ish targets for the slot weapon. I obviously prefer Stephon Diggs. I think Diggs does lead this team in targets, leads this team in catches. But if I believe in Drake May the level I do, he should be able to carry at least a couple wide receivers with him and or tight ends. And I think it's going to be Demario Douglas. A lot of that is me reacting from the practice I saw, but the way he was just gashing the Commanders in 11-on-11, being the favorite target. You have like about a drive to start. And in that first drive, he was the target on 4 of the first 8 throws. Like he was just a clear first read guy. He probably had 45 yards in like 2 drives of action. It was insane how this guy was just knifing through the entire defense. He looks like he's at another level of speed. It is just that kind of perfect, crafty route runner that is going to be perfect for this Josh McDaniels slot role. So I love Demario Douglas. He's going in like the 190s right now. In redraft, he goes around the 140 to 150 range in best ball. And I think he's going to smash.
How much of him do you own in best ball? A ton?
So unfortunately, like, because I'm a psycho and I draft so early, I wasn't really in on Demario Douglas in like the early half of the drafts, but he's become the guy that I'm hitting like in every single draft moving forward. So I'm probably at about like 15-ish%. I would love that to be like 30 to 40%. I wish I had been on him a little bit earlier. I just am such a psycho and did way too many drafts too fast and did not have him on my radar till recently.
That's all right. I know you'll make up for that with volume.
I have to get him up to 30%, so I just have to keep drafting. Right. It's the way I justify it.
You have to do twice as many drafts, that means.
Exactly, right.
So, all right. So I like him a lot. That's going to be interesting also. I said this just when we were talking about Mims a minute ago. I really am actually looking forward to watching the Patriots this year. And I'm almost never looking forward to watching the Patriots.
I know. I can't wait. After these last couple of seasons where it should just like rip your eyeballs out, it really did. And it was sad because, football Sundays were all about Pats. You'd have Red Zone on another TV. And of course, you love Red Zone too, no doubt about it. But it got to the point in the last 2 years where it's like I watch a drive of Patriots action. I just put on Red Zone. I don't even bother watching it because it's just going to infuriate me. And I know that might make me sound like a horrendous fan, but the product they were putting on the field was not worth my time on a Sunday. I'd rather watch Red Zone all day than deal with getting angry about my Patriots. So I'm so excited. They go into that practice truth where it was like Drake May carving up the Commanders, Mike Vrabel diving into a scrum and bleeding. And like, it was just like all the vibes at Gillette. Everyone's going nuts. The defense was stuffing Jaden Daniels every single time. It just felt like, oh, we're back. Like this is the Gillette air that I remember, not this horrendous product we dealt with for the last 2 seasons. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I get it. Next guy on the list, so I actually brought him up to you last year in the preseason. I was like, hey, there's a value hole here. Keep an eye on this guy. How come you're low on this guy? And you were like, oh, you're making really good points, Truth. And you kind of were like, maybe I'll get a little Josh Palmer. Maybe I'll elevate him a little. And I think you may have even done that. And then I just, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out largely because the Chargers were just so run heavy. And then
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey just did everything Josh Palmer could do way better than Josh Palmer did it. And that's why it's an interesting, like, especially with like him, Demario Douglas, these aren't these crazy talents. It's not like Marvin Mims where they're exploding all over the field. And when they touch the ball, you're like, why is this guy not getting more touches? But what Palmer does do very well is he's very savvy. He knows where the soft spots are. He knows how to run his routes. He knows how to build timing with his quarterbacks. And what have the Bills lacked? They have Khalil Shakir, who does all that very well. But other than him, they have not had a consistent wide receiver too. And Shakir just had as a high ankle sprain, and he's week to week. They think he's going to be ready for week 1, but this is an ankle he's already injured multiple times before. A slot wide receiver that relies on shiftiness, ankle's pretty important there. So whether it's Khalil Shakir suffering a re-aggravation, whether he's not ready for week 1, at minimum, it's given Palmer this new runway to really establish that rapport with Josh Allen. And I mean, who better do you want to throw you the rock than Josh Allen? He's been called, Josh Palmer, so far, a magnet for Josh Allen so far. He's been a staple on offense. He's smooth, moving quickly and effortlessly, specializing in separation are some of the reports we're seeing. All early indications that Palmer will be a staple and could be a sneaky candidate to lead the receivers in snaps. And so, I mean, at minimum, maybe the number 2 wide receiver. If Khalil Shakir is out, potentially the number 1 for Josh Allen, but he's going 190, wide receiver 73. I think that's just a no-brainer. And if you watch Hard Knocks, I don't know if you've seen it at all yet, Truth, but these guys are like staying after practice every day, working on their go routes, working on the route tree. That's kind of, you read that about Palmer with LA, that he was always that guy to stay after, work with his quarterbacks, make sure he put in that time to really build the chemistry. And we're seeing that with Josh Allen right now as well. And I think that's going to go very, very far. He'll be a steady weapon for Josh Allen. And what better than that in the 190s? I mean, give that to me all day.
Yeah, I agree. The argument for him, and it's basically the argument I made for him last year, and the argument people have made for him in the past, it was just basically like, well, they got to throw the ball to somebody. And you know, it seems like now this is a little bit more of a ringing endorsement for him than just like, well, you got to throw the ball to somebody. Also, we probably think Josh Allen, big upgrade from Herbert. Herbert, a lot of people are starting to be out on Herbert.
I'm not out yet. I'm excited to see what he does this year. That playoff performance was so pathetic against the Texans. Real tail between the legs.
Oh, yeah.
But I still think we haven't seen the best of Herbert. We'll see this year for sure. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments. Check out some more videos and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.